Are you ready to go on a journey? We're heading way, way up, past the clouds, past the moon, to a story that travels across the stars, all to teach us a secret about what's right here on Earth. It's a story about a very small boy with a very, very big heart.
Just think about that for a second. What if everything you ever needed to know about friendship and love could be found on a tiny little planet, maybe even smaller than your own house? Well, let's go find out. Our big adventure starts on a very small world, a little speck twinkling in the night sky. A home so tiny you could walk all the way across it in just a couple of minutes.
And on this little planet lived a little prince. Yep, this tiny asteroid was his entire world. Can you imagine that? Floating all by yourself in the giant, quiet universe? You know, it could get a little lonely up there.
His planet was so small that something truly amazing could happen. If he wanted to watch a beautiful sunset, he could. And then, guess what? He could just scoot his chair over a little bit and watch it all over again. Wow! He once saw the sunset 44 times in just one day.
So his world was pretty simple. He had 3 little volcanoes. 2 were perfect for heating up his breakfast, and the third one was dormant. And he had a flower, a single beautiful rose, who was very proud and maybe just a little bit bossy. He took such good care of her, but even with all that, he still felt that something was missing. He felt lonely, and that feeling, it was the spark for the greatest adventure of his life.
So, the little prince decided it was time to leave. He wanted to find a friend, maybe figure out this whole universe thing. But first, he found planets filled with some very, very strange grown-ups. Whoosh! Off he went, hopping from one little world to the next. But everywhere he looked, the grown-ups were just, well, they were more confusing than the last. On the first planet, he met a king, all dressed up in royal clothes, but get this, he didn't have anyone to be king of. He just sat on his throne all day, ordering the sun to set, but only when it was already time for the sun to set anyway. The prince thought that was pretty silly. Then, on the next planet, he met a man who did nothing but count stars. 1, 2, 3, 500 million, he'd mutter. But why? He just wanted to own them, to write it down on a piece of paper, even though he couldn't actually do anything with them.
And on another planet, he met a very serious businessman. He was way too busy with his matters of consequence to even look up from his desk. He said he owned all the stars, but never, not once, took a moment to just enjoy how beautiful they were.
The little prince just didn't get it. All these grown-ups cared about were numbers and rules and owning things that didn't really seem to matter at all. And feeling more alone than ever, he just whispered to himself, "Grown-ups are very strange."
But after all those confusing planets, the prince finally landed somewhere that would change everything. Our planet, Earth. And right here, in a huge, quiet desert, he was about to learn the most important lesson in the whole universe.
He found himself surrounded by sand as far as he could see. It was so quiet and felt so empty. He called out, "Hello!" but only his own voice echoed back to him. Just when he thought he was all alone in this giant new world, a little creature with clever eyes and a big, bushy tail appeared. It was a fox, and this fox was about to share a secret that would change the little prince's life forever. The fox told him something truly magical. He said, "It is only with the heart that one can see rightly. What is essential is invisible to the eye." What he meant was that the most important things in life, things like love and friendship, you can't see them with your eyes. You have to feel them right here in your heart. And in that one moment, pop, the little prince finally understood. He had seen gardens on Earth with thousands and thousands of roses, but none of them felt special. His rose, the one back on his tiny planet, she was special. Not because she was the only rose in the universe, but because she was his rose, the one he watered, the one he protected from the wind, the one he loved. Now, this beautiful story about seeing with your heart sounds like a wonderful fairy tale, right? But here's the most amazing part. It actually comes from a very real adventure. But before we get to that, let's remember the big lessons the fox gave us. 1. Loving something is what makes it special. 2. Spending time with someone is what makes a friendship real. And 3, the biggest one, the best things in life are felt, not just seen. So, who could have come up with such a wise and wonderful story? Was it a king? A busy businessman? Nope, it was someone much more adventurous. The person who wrote this book was named Antoine de Saint-Exupery, and you won't believe this, he was a real-life airplane pilot.
and he actually crashed his plane in the middle of the Sahara Desert, the exact same place where the little prince lands on Earth. He wrote this whole story to remind grown-ups to never ever forget how to see the world with the same wonder and love as a kid.
Okay, so now that we know the fox's amazing secret, it's our turn. Because this story isn't just about a prince and a flower on a faraway planet, it's about us too.
The little prince's rose was special because of all the time and love he gave her. So, who is your special rose? Who in your life is totally unique and special just because you love them? It could be a friend, your brother or sister, your parents, or even your pet.
And here's one last fun thing to imagine. If you had your very own tiny planet, just like Asteroid B612, what would you fill it with? What are the things that are most important to you?
Because the Little Prince taught us that it really doesn't matter how big your world is. All that matters is how much love you put inside it. So never forget, even the smallest planet can hold the biggest, most beautiful truth of all.